Now, what if I told you tonight that people do not care what you do? Like I was with the former Green Beret today. If you were a Green Beret, that's cool. If you were a Navy SEAL, that's cool, right? If you created something magical like Elon Musk to ship somebody to the moon, it may be like, that's cool. But most of us have jobs where we go, that ain't that cool. People do not care what you do. So you have to change how you answer this question, number one, and you have to change how you see yourself. We are living in a world where there is great forces of commoditization happening. And commoditization is where there are too many people competing for the same space. Okay. And because there's so many people competing for the same space, that actually devalues you in a number of ways, because the market begins to believe that if I could get a similar product or service at a cheaper rate, and it's really not that different, then why should I pay more money for it? Or why should I pay any money at all for it? Okay. And so a lot of people are looking for how they can separate themselves from other people. Okay. When I started my coaching business in 2008, it was new to have a business coach. It was not common. It was an emergent industry. Now, fast forward till today, there's roughly, 500 to 800,000 people that call themselves a coach today. And what that does is people go, well, I could get Coach Burt, but Coach Burt's a little bit more expensive than this coach. And why don't I just get Coach Kurt? Because Coach Kurt is cheaper than Coach Burt. Now, he's not as good as Coach Burt is, but what the heck? I'll just do this. Okay. Now, I have a house down on 30A. If you've ever been down to 30A, it's a stretch of ocean between Panama City Beach and Destin, Florida, and it is beautiful. Okay. The average sale of a house down there at one time was $2.9 million was the average sale of a house in that area. Okay. There are 4,000 real estate agents in that area competing for literally what's no more than 30 or 40 miles. Am I right about that, Patrick? Patrick is down in that area. It's probably 30 or 40 miles of ocean. And there's 4,000 agents competing to represent buyers and sellers on that little stretch of area. Okay. So what's happening in our world with the advancement of AI and other things is that we are facing deep forces of what's called commoditization. And those forces of commoditization are going to force people to move toward specialization. Okay. And if you are not a specialist at what it is you do, and you cannot articulate how you are different and better than other people, then what will happen is what's called creative destruction. And creative destruction is where there's other people out there looking at you going, I'll do it better, I'll do it faster, and I'll do it cheaper. Okay. And I'll kind of take this market share. So when you have deep forces of commoditization, like a lot of business people I coach, then the way you separate yourself is in how you explain your value. Okay. And how you articulate what makes you different and better than other people so that they will pay more money or pay a premium for your products or services. Everybody with me? Okay. So what we're going to teach tonight is a foundational principle in our program that we call the explanation of value. And it is a total game changer. This foundation was originally created by a guy named Tom Love. And Tom Love is one of the biggest whole life insurance sales professionals in the world. Okay. At one time, his downline represented almost 50% of all of Ohio National's production. Am I right about that, John Hart? You may know. And so Tom Love went through our coaching program, and he read my book, Person of Interest, Craig Nestor, and he came back to me and he said, this little book has changed my life. And he said, I need to quit selling insurance and start selling a strategy. Because lots of people can sell insurance. And I need to get out of selling a product and get into the business of selling a strategy. And I need to become a specialist, okay? And what I really need to do is become a person of interest, okay? So he developed what he called the EOS, which was the explanation of service, okay? During this explanation of service, James Ford, guess what he didn't mention in his entire presentation? The fact that he was selling insurance, right? He didn't even mention the word insurance until the very end of the presentation, when he would say, if I could get these results for you, would it matter what vehicle or what instrument I use to get those results? And people would go, no, couldn't care less. And he said, what if I told you it was an insurance policy? Everybody with me? Because insurance, Susanna, is what he called a toxic word. It's a word that's overused, like life coach, overused. Mortgage originator, overused. Insurance salesman, overused. And what the brain does when it hears these things is it goes, I don't need one of those. Like, I don't need I got an insurance sale. I got an insurance guy. I don't need an insurance guy. I got a mortgage originator. I don't need a mortgage. I got a real estate agent. And the brain quickly goes to, I don't need you. Okay? Because I already got somebody. So why would I need you? Okay? So this is why it's very important to package the way you explain your value to other people. And so Tom Love said, hey, this is how I'm going to do my explanation of service. And I go, okay, you and I, you originated this in our coaching program through Person of Interest. I'm going to take it, tweak it a little bit. And I think there should be, 6 parts to it versus 3. And I thought it was a game changer. So he is the pioneer of the EOS, and I always give him credit because he really initiated this structure. And then I go, okay, I think I can tweak it a little bit and take it a little bit and share it with people around the world. So tonight we're going to break it down into really 6 steps, okay? Now, when you meet another person, the number one question they're going to ask you when you meet another person is what? They're going to ask you 2 questions. When you meet strangers, what do you do? Okay. And probably, where are you from? They're going to say, now, Chuck, what do you do? And Chuck could say, I'm from Oklahoma. Okay, good. What do you do? Chuck could answer this question by commoditizing his own self, by saying, I'm in the real estate business, or I represent people that buy and sell land, or I do this. Now, how many of you have ever answered that question by actually just telling people exactly what you do, and they look at you and go, okay, great, that's great. Okay, you have actually commoditized your own self by answering the question. It'd be like me saying, hey, I'm a business coach. And they're like, oh, well, there's 800,000 business coaches. And I got AI that I could talk to anytime. And I got YouTube that I could watch Coach Burt on. Why do I need coach? Why would I need a business coach if I got all these other coaches that are free? So when you get asked this question, a lot of people immediately go into what they do. Now, what if I told you tonight that people do not care what you do? Okay, I got 99 problems, folks, every day when I wake up. And what you do for a living ain't one of them. Okay, so when I meet people and they say, oh, I'll do this, right, and they're so proud of what they do, unless like I was with the former Green Beret today, who was on the board of directors of the company Safe Space that I'm on the board of directors. Now, that's cool. If you were a Green Beret, that's cool. If you were a Navy SEAL, that's cool, right? If you, created something magical like Elon Musk to ship somebody to the moon, it may be like, that's cool. But most of us have jobs where we go, that ain't that cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's good that you do that. Good for you. Who cares? People do not care what you do. So you have to change how you answer this question, number one, and you have to change how you see yourself. And so before we get into the 6 steps, we're going to make a little bit of shift here. And the shift is called a double shift. And the double shift, Deidre, is changing the way you see you. Okay. And I want you to think of yourself as a specialist versus a generalist. Okay. When you explain to people what you do, I want you to get in your brain. You are a specialist. You have a very specialized skill set. That skill set comes from your past. You use that skill set to solve other people's problems. Okay. And they begin to see you like you very seldom see me say I'm a coach or a life coach or a business coach. And I always joke and tell people, if I don't want to talk to people and people are trying to talk to me and they say, what do you do for a living? I go, I'm a life coach. And they go, well, I don't need a life coach. And I'm like, good, then don't talk to me. Okay. Then we don't have any need to talk to each other. That's what I say to people when I don't want to talk to people. I'm a life coach. Okay. If I'm in a good attitude mode, Lauren Murphy, and people say, what do you do for a living? I go, before I tell you what I do, let me back up and tell you what I believe. Okay. And this gives me a chance to say what I do believe. If I want to go into a coaching discussion, I may say, I believe everybody needs a great coach in their life. I believe a good coach can change your life. I believe those that have a coach always outperform those that do not. Okay. And I may say, have you ever had a good coach? And they'll go, oh, yeah. I had a great coach when I was in high school. A woman I was sat with today, and I was sitting right across from her. And I said, have you ever had a good coach? And she said, no, but my kids have. And I said, did you notice how important the coach was in their life when they were growing? Could you see that? And I said, if you paid for your kids to have a coach, why wouldn't you have a coach? You're trying to sell insurance. You're telling me you want to sell more insurance. Like, help me understand why you wouldn't have a coach but your kids. So I say, before I tell you what I do, let me back up and tell you what I believe. Okay. I'm really a specialist. I'm a specialist at activating boldness in people. I'm a specialist at activating prey drive, which is the instinct to pursue. I'm a specialist at activating monetization of a brand. I'm a specialist at getting people to play at a much higher frequency. And I've spent 34 years of my life coaching some of the top people in the world, really to move from A to B and to get a seat at a much bigger table. That's a whole lot better than saying I'm a business coach. It's a whole lot better than saying I'm a life coach. So, number one step before we get into the framework is you are a specialist. You are not a generalist. And people will pay much more money for people who specialize in something versus are generalists. And until you think like this, you just answer the question like, I'm a realtor. I'm an insurance agent. I'm a this, I'm a that. And the other person goes, okay, people don't care what you do. Okay. What they care about is, do we believe the same things? People do business with other people who believe the same things they do. Okay. So a good explanation of value starts with a very strong belief. Okay. If I'm a real estate professional, I believe there's a difference between a house and a home. I believe houses are made up of sticks and bricks and homes are made up of memories. I believe every person deserves the right to have a professional represent them when they buy, sell, build, or finance real estate. I believe the average person is going to buy 4 to 7 houses in their lifetime, and who represents them matters. Okay. Look at how strong those beliefs are. Okay. Very strong and pointed beliefs. Notice I didn't say I'm a realtor. I said, here are some beliefs I have. Okay. I believe in attracting business versus chasing business. I believe there's a lot of highly talented yet undercapitalized people in the world. I believe you're an 8-figure person stuck in a 5-figure vehicle. Okay. These are beliefs. So the first step of a good explanation of value is to always lead with what you believe, never what you do. Now, how many of you guys have ever seen me do videos in the morning where I'm walking around my subdivision, or I'm on TikTok, or I'm walking around the hotel, and the very first thing I say in my mouth is, good morning, it's Coach, it's the Tuesday drive, Man, I believe everybody needs a great coach in their life. I believe a good coach can change their life. I believe everybody, Mary Lee, deserves a seat at a much bigger table. What I'm doing there is I'm getting agreement from people right out of the gate. They go, that's right. I do deserve a seat at a bigger table. I do need a coach in my life, right? So I start everything off with what I believe. Okay, so let's pretend today I was sitting in a sales meeting, and I was, because I used a strategy here in Texas where I said, man, I want to meet you. Come over to my hotel and let's meet and greet. And I'm going to be available from 4 to 6 this afternoon. And if you're serious about getting a seat at a big table, come over and meet me. And people came over to meet me that are complete strangers to me. I've never met them. They saw me speak today. They may be following me on YouTube. And I would sit right across the table and I say, man, I got one big question for you. What are you trying to do? And they say, well, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. And I said, well, let's call that going from A to B. And I would just listen to what their problems were and what their ambitions were. And I would do discovery. Have you had a coach before? What didn't work about that? What's your annual revenue? On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you about this? Because I only work with serious people. And then after they would kind of dump this data on me, I would say, well, there's a few things I believe here. I believe this, I believe this, I believe this. Now, let me tell you why I believe what I believe. Okay, so step one of a good explanation of value is always lead with what you believe, never what you do. Okay, worst mistake you can make is tell people this is what I do. That will commoditize you. Okay, lead with what you believe. Because what if you and I don't believe the same things? What's the likelihood of us doing business with each other? Okay, if we don't believe the same things. All conflict happens when two people don't believe the same things. Okay, so some of you are team builders, you're building teams, you're recruiting people. If I believe in coming in early and staying late, and you believe in showing up late and leaving early, then it's only a matter of time before you and I are going to have conflict with each other. Yes or no? Okay, if I believe in touching the line and you don't believe in touching the line, you and I are going to have conflict with each other. If I believe in being humble, hungry, and teachable, and you believe in whining and complaining and making excuses, then you and I are going to have a problem with each other. Everybody with me? All conflict happens when two people don't believe the same things. So when you have problems with some of your clients, and all of us do, there's one real problem that we're really having with those clients, and that is that we do not believe the same things. Okay? So when you're recruiting, you need to be clear with people. Hey, this is what we believe. This is why we believe it. And if they don't line up with those beliefs, you don't need to recruit them. Because the people you got to beg to get in are always the first ones trying to get out. Yes or no? Okay. The people you have to hard sell, the people, right? And it's not that they're bad people or that you're right and they're wrong. You just don't believe the same things. Okay. And that's very important. And people will show you with their reactions to you if they believe the same things. I believe in investing in myself. I believe in, and taking a percentage of my income and investing it back into my growth. I believe every major performer in the world has a coach. Okay. These are core beliefs that I have. So number one, we lead with what we believe. Okay. Step number two of a good explanation of value is tell me why you believe what you believe. Okay. Now, this is not finding your why. Okay. This is tell me where your belief originated. You went through a tough period of your life. You had a breakdown. You had a revelation. You learned something valuable. Okay. This is called a story of origin. It's like, where did your belief originate? Okay. Now, if you ever hear me tell this story, I was raised by a single mother. She worked 2 and 3 jobs. She used to take me to a local baseball field where I fell in love with sports. And I was really raised by my mother, my grandparents, and coaches. It was on those fields and in those gyms that I observed how a good coach could truly change a person's life. Did everybody see where my belief originated from? Okay. When I tell that story, that's going back in time. And it's going to a point in time where I had a big revelation. And a revelation is a sudden dramatic moment in your life. Because of this revelation, I had a deep conviction. Because of my deep conviction, I now am willing to take an action. Okay. Now, why am I so passionate, Vic, about the big table? It's because I've spent 18 years building a business, and it was a very enjoyable, meaningful work for me coaching people, but it's also been a very tough vehicle that I've been in. Why? Because human nature says we start with good intention, we fail to follow through, and we experience guilt. Okay, people start and they want to quit. They start and they want to quit. And so why am I so passionate about finding the right vehicle now that I'm 48? I'll be 49 next month. Because if someone would have sat down with me, Jessica Hopkins, 17 years ago and said, I want you to think about the vehicle you're getting into, which is the coaching business. Know what you're getting yourself into, which is going to be a lot of travel, a lot of hard nights, a lot of working with a lot of people, a lot of taking on a lot of people's emotional baggage. How can you scale this vehicle? Can you exit this vehicle? What can you do with this vehicle? See, nobody sat down and had those conversations with me. So 18 years into it, I'm like, this is meaningful work that I'm doing, but boy, it sure is hard. Right? And there's hard money and there's easy money. Okay, that is a revelation. So when I'm up there today teaching how to get a seat at a big table, I'm challenging the audience and I'm going, hey, can this vehicle get you to your goals? What goals do you have? Will it be hard? Will it be easy? Are you going with macro trends, against macro trends? You see where I'm going? I'm passionate about it because I want to help people figure out which vehicle they're supposed to be in. Okay, very important equation. So number 2, tell me why you believe what you believe. Okay. Number 3, tell me what it is you really do. This is where the specialty comes in. And I want you to say it like this, Roan, based on my unique past and my unique experiences, I really have developed a very specialized skill set. And I am a specialist at helping people do this. And if you could sum up your skill in one word, man, even better. I got one primary skill and I solve a big problem in the world based on my unique past and my unique experiences. I really am a specialist at X. Now, you may think that skill is very valuable. The world may not think it's as valuable as you think it is. Okay. So the market determines your value. You don't. Everybody hear me say that? Okay. The market determines what your skill is worth. If I help Chuck make $20 million more with my skill, I may say, Chuck, I'd like to keep $1 million of it. You keep 19 and I'll keep 1. And most people would go, I'm in. He may even say, if I could keep 10 million of it, you keep 10, coach, because it's 10 more million than I had before I met you. Everybody see that? So the value of the skill is in proportion to the problem that you solve and what the market determines that value to be. Okay. So when you're saying I'm a specialist at X, you may go, I'm one of the best in the world. I got all this experience doing this. The market may say, I don't care. Like that's not really solving a big enough problem for us. We need skills that move the needle. That is a revenue needle. That is some kind of skill that solves a big problem. That is what companies desperately need today. AI can follow up with people. AI can do certain things. I want you to consider yourself a needle mover. Okay. It's like I come into the equation and man, I change the game. I change the game. Okay. So what is that specialized skill set? Like, what do you really do? Our promise is we help people secure a seat at a much bigger table. We do that by activating them, activating the business, and activating their wealth. Does everybody see that? That's our promise that we deliver. We specialize in this. Okay. Now, an interesting thing to me is a lot of people are coming to me that have brands today that are deactivated or they don't know how to activate them. It's like they have a concept, they have a business, And they're like, I want you to help me activate this business. Well, how would I activate the business? I'd activate the people. I'd activate the business through marketing, through person of interest, through strategy, right? If you see what we're trying to do with Safe Space, which is the company I'm on the board of directors of, we're trying to activate that stock to $2. If we can get it to $2, then it uplists on the New York Stock Exchange. Then if we can get it to $10, boom, everybody gets rich. Everybody with me? So it's like, all right, how do we activate this? Now, if Richard Johnson puts money into that company and it gets to $10 and he makes $30 million, he'll love Coach Burt forever. Does that make sense? And it's like, how do we activate this? So what I'm figuring out, Craig Nestor, is that you can use the same skill in multiple ways. We can activate a brand. We can activate a business. We can activate a person. We can activate capital. We can right? It's like the same skill used in different ways. Everybody see that? Okay. So if I ask you right now, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Then you're going to tell me, hey, here's what I do, right? I'm a specialist and I solve this problem. I want you to think Navy SEAL. I'm calling you in because you're the Green Berets. You're the Special Forces. You're the best in the world at what it is you do. I spent 2 hours with Price Pritchett yesterday, the great psychologist, and he was the #1 mergers and acquisitions expert in America. Okay. For a period, he said, I may not be today, but for a period of my life, we were the #1 mergers and acquisition companies in the world. And I said, well, how did they compensate you for that? And he told me his pricing. I'd look at this project and this project was this. And I look at this project and it was this. And it wasn't small money, folks. It wasn't like a few dollars. You understand what I'm telling you here? Why could he command that much money? Because he was the best at what he did. Okay. Very unique skill set. Now, step number 4. How do you do it different than other people? Okay. Is there a different delivery mechanism that you have? How do you deliver your product or service in a different way than other people do? Now, I think a lot of a person's differential comes from their past. I'm paying you for your past. Your past helps me to build my future. Okay? Your past helps me to build my future. So I like people that say, hey, there's really 3 things we do different than other people. There's 3 ways we do this different. We do this, and we do this. It's unique. It's different. Okay. And this is getting harder and harder to do, guys. What is your true differential advantage? Now, I was competing once. I went to a coaching session when I was a basketball coach. And I was just getting into speaking. And John Maxwell was the speaker. He's a great leadership speaker, and he sold a lot of books, millions of books. And he did a special session for coaches, and we were all athletic coaches at the time. And great session on building teams, leadership. And I walked out of that session, and a Hall of Fame coach elbowed me. And he said, you know the difference between you and Maxwell? And I said, no. He said, who's more qualified to build championship teams, you or him? And I go, he said, you've won a championship. You've built championship teams. You've actually done this, haven't you? And I said, I have. And he said, that's what makes you different. Everybody see that? It's one thing to write about leadership. It's another thing to go win championships and write about leadership. And it's like, okay, I haven't led a Navy SEAL division. I haven't done that. Okay. But if we were studying on one of the top, commanders or top generals in the military that's gone into battle and said, this is how I built this. This is how I did this. It's like, who's more qualified to teach you how to do that? That person or me? So it's like, when you're talking about your differential, you're not saying anything negative about your competition, but you are saying, hey, you really want to build a team. Would you rather someone who's actually built championship teams or somebody who's written about building championship teams? You see where I'm going here? It's not saying something negative or positive. Okay. I told a guy today, I still talk to people every day. I still call people every day. I still do 98% of the coaching when people sign up for my coaching programs because they'll tell me, well, I'm looking at your program versus this program versus this program. And they'll say, but I really don't get the guy who writes the books. I kind of get somebody else. And I'd say, well, when you sign up to get me, you get me. I'm doing the coaching. You can still talk to me. I will still call you. I will still have a conversation with you. That is still that is a differential because a lot of people don't talk to the person that's doing the coaching, right? So I'm trying to find somewhere, guys, to separate versus other people. Okay. Now, that is step number 4. Step number 5. Tell me success of people you have worked with. And specifically in my industry, right? I've helped this person do this. I've helped this person do this. I work with someone just like you, and we did this. When you study persuasion, Price Pritchett said, Coach, one of the reasons you've been successful is you're awfully persuasive. And I said, okay. And he said, you got a big engine and you're optimistic and you got a high risk tolerance and you got these things. And he had kind of dissected me from a psychological perspective. And I said, well, I just have a lot of conviction. That's where my persuasiveness comes from. I really believe that we can change people's lives. I've seen it. Okay. And it's not hard for me to sell that. One of the tenets of persuasion is success indicators or credibility. It's like, show me somebody you've worked with and show me what kind of results you've gotten for those people. Okay. So when you're explaining it, you say, hey, man, I've worked with all kinds of people in this industry. Okay. And here's the results I typically get. We get a 43% increase in a 1-year cycle. There's been some people who've done this. There's been some people who've done this, right? And you kind of show people what you've done for people. Okay. That is step 5, success indicators. Now, my favorite step is always the step toward an action. And Joe, this is where a lot of people miss. Where there's no invitation, there's no monetization. So I was on Cindy's, Masterclass last night, Cindy Whitteman, and I taught person of interest. And throughout the presentation, I invited people to take actions. Here's my download of my planner you can download. Here's a link to book a strategy call with me and our team. Here's this. At the end of your explanation of value, there should always be a call to action. Trevor, if I could do this for you like I did for Jessica and Roan and Laura, what would stop us from moving forward with each other? Hi, it's Coach Burt. I am here at the Level 10 podcast studios at the Greatness Factory doing some prep work today for our new podcast called The Big Table. There's a lot of 8-figure people stuck in 6-figure vehicles. And I got this concept from my great mentor, Dr. Price Pritchett, who was doing an interview with Lewis Howes, and they asked him why he went into mergers and acquisitions. And he said, because mergers and acquisitions is the big table. It's where the big boys and the big girls play. And I started thinking, this is really what I've been doing for people for many, many years. We've given it more formality today, which is activating you. Then we want to activate the business. And then ultimately we want to activate your wealth. And the Big Table podcast is going to be interviews and thought processes that we break down on what is an exact formula for a person to go from A to B and get a much bigger seat at that big table. So I'm excited about bringing this to the market. I want you to tune in. I want you to hit the subscribe button. You're going to love this podcast because it's going to make you consistently think about your level 10 opportunities, your Blue Marlin relationships, and how you can quit majoring in the minors, get up to the big leagues. I'm Coach Burt. I can't wait to see you on the podcast. Is there anything that would keep you from signing up with us right now or enrolling with us right now? Now, why do people not ask this question? Okay. Why, Laura, I think Kelly sent me your explanation of value today. Is it okay if I pull it up and we talk about it right here?
Yep, that's fine.
Now, see if I can find it real quick. Okay. And in the meantime, while I'm pulling it up, Jana, can you post the link for the Pray Drive planner if people have not gotten that planner yet? I really want them to download that. Tell me if you guys can see this. How many of you guys can see this? You guys see this okay?
Yep,
Okay.
you can see it.
Okay, so Laura sent this in today, and let's just work through this cycle and let's see what we think here. Okay, and you are in the real estate business?
Yes.
Okay. I believe every buyer and seller deserves a focused, passionate agent, a true sniper in their corner. Like that. Every homeowner and seller needs a sniper agent, somewhat precise, passionate, and relentless. Okay. I believe every client deserves an agent who brings passion, precision, and fierce dedication. A true sniper. All right. So let's change the sequence of that.
Okay.
I believe every buyer and seller needs a true sniper in their corner. See, that's a stronger start. Right? Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. They're focused, they're passionate, they're relentless. I believe every buyer and seller deserves a true sniper in their corner. Now, that's going to catch people off guard. They're going to go, man, I ain't heard an agent talk like this. Okay. So a lot of people have good explanations of value, but I need to rework them a little bit to where it punches me right in the face when I hear it.
Right.
Now,
That was the point. We had 3 different things to play with.
yeah, I believe every buyer and seller needs a freaking sniper in their corner. They're going to go, okay. You'll watch their head go, okay. Right. And I'm talking, and say it like this, I'm talking someone who's precise, somebody who's passionate, and someone who's relentless. Okay. Now, tell me why you believe what you believe. Why do you believe every person deserves that, Laura?
I really like my number 2. I'm deeply empathetic to my clients' needs, proactively eliminating any pitfalls. I want to make an extraordinary experience for them.
Okay,
everybody deserves that.
But tell me, but that's not telling me why. Tell me why you believe what you believe.
Oh boy. Okay.
Go back to a moment in time. When did you make a decision that people needed a sniper? What have you seen? What have you experienced in your experiences?
Okay.
Tell me it's a freaking jungle out there. And give me a reason it's a jungle. Man, I believe every person deserves a sniper, a true sniper in their corner, somebody who's precise, passionate, and relentless. Let me tell you why I believe this. It's a freaking jungle out there right now. Interest rates are at 7%. Give me some stats.
Okay.
Very hard to sell a house right now. Very hard to buy a house right now. You can't turn this over to some bozo.
Right. Okay.
How many of you believe that sometimes owning a house or selling a house can produce a lot of wealth for people? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Guys, I got a house right now. It's got
number 1 asset.
I got a house right now. It's got $2.3 million of equity in it. 2.3 million. You make money when you buy, not when you sell. Is that a strong statement? Yes or no? Okay.
Right.
If Laura helps me buy something that's worth 2.3 million more than right what I bought it at, then she's really been very valuable for me. She's a sniper. I believe every buyer and seller deserves a freaking sniper in their corner, somebody who's precise, passionate, and relentless. And let me tell you why I believe this. It's a freaking jungle out there. Okay. Interest rates are here. This. Give me some stats. It's taking 75 days right now to sell a house when it used to take 20. See, now she's getting into the story of why she believes what she believes. And by the way, I don't care what anybody on this call believes. That's your beliefs. But give me tell me why you believe this. And I'm gonna boom. I believe the same things you do. So then it's like, let me tell you what I really do. I bring a masterful eye and a creative vision to every home, whether it's helping clients reimagine a space, remodeling, or preparing it to shine. Okay. This is what I do. Now, you could combine some of this other stuff with a keen eye for design. You can pick out of these which is the strongest one. And what I like to do is beta test these. So you may try it different ways and see who, let the market give you some feedback here.
Okay.
Okay. I skillfully guide clients. Let me tell you what I really do, guys. I'm a specialist at guiding clients through this. I'm a specialist at negotiating, right, to bring visions to life. I'm a specialist. Okay. Now, how do I do it different? Okay. Give me 2 or 3 ways you do it different, Laura.
It's interesting. I had a call with somebody today. I really do look at every pitfall that can possibly happen in a contract. I know the contract in and out. So I'm already anticipating and looking and watching for anything that could potentially happen. And there are so many agents out there that are so, I don't want to be unkind, but not experienced. They can make so many mistakes from my buyer or seller if they are not on their game. And I have to watch out for that.
Average agent does less than 10 deals a year.
So
83% of agents give up in the first 2 years. See how I'm using these stats?
mhm.
What I'm saying is, don't turn this over to an amateur. Okay? This is a big transaction. Some people believe one of the biggest transactions of your life. 80% of agents quit in the first 2 years. X number of agents do less than 7 deals a year. There's a top 1% of the top 1%. And that's who you need. Freaking Navy SEALs, not baby SEALs.
Okay.
Everybody with me? Now, when you think skill sets, I want you to pay close attention, Sean Hardy. When you think skill sets, think I'm a specialist at negotiating. I'm a specialist at marketing. I'm a specialist at anticipating problems. I'm a specialist at dissecting that contract. I'm a specialist at, see where I'm going with this? I'm a specialist. I'm not a freaking real estate agent. There's a real estate agent on every corner. I don't need a real estate agent. I need a freaking stone cold killer here. I need somebody who I need a pit bull, not a poodle. Okay? Unless you
I
got
have one of those.
okay, unless you got one of them little scary poodles that bite your ankles.
No, the pit bull.
Okay, now here's my point. My point is when you articulate your value, I want you to imagine sitting down at a dinner with a person, and after you get through the pleasantries, there's going to be a moment I call the moment of truth. And the moment of truth is when they say, go, here's your chance. Explain to me why I should use you. Based on my unique past, my unique experiences, there is nobody on planet Earth who could do this better than me. Everybody with me? That's the kind of confidence you got to have. Now, if you can't articulate your value, how am I going to know your value? Like if you don't even know it, how would I know it? Okay. Now, as she's working through this, who she's done it for, I've helped, in my lifetime over X number of hundreds of families do this successfully. Right. Now, if I could do this for you, like I've done it for other people, what would stop us from signing this agreement, getting started? Everybody see that? This is where the prey drive comes out, right, Chuck? The prey drive is ain't nobody better than me on planet Earth. Now let's do it. Sign this document and let me represent you on this deal. Navy SEAL, baby, not baby SEAL. Best at what you do. Okay. Now, can we all agree that this is not how most people talk about their services? Yes or no? Okay. Most people go, this is what I do, and we're really good, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. This is what I believe. This is why I believe it. This is what we do. This is how we do it different than other people. These are people we have done it for. If we could do this for you, like we've done it from other people, what would stop us from getting started today? Okay, everybody see how we're doing this? These are 6 steps to a world-class explanation of value. Biggest mistake I see people make, they talk too much. They get stuck in the friend zone. I tell people, I am friendly, but I am not your friend. I am a stone cold killer at what I do. I cannot help you get results if we're in the friend zone with each other. You know how easy to tell friends no? My best friend calls and says, I want to go to breakfast on Saturday morning. I go, I don't feel like going. He goes, okay. That's how friends talk to each other. I want a person going, I got to do this, man. Right now, you're the best at what you do. I'm looking for the best. The way you explain it is everything. Okay. Now, what questions do we have? Tony, you want to come up? I've been working with Tony. Tony, I want to give a shout out to Tony. He's doing his A to B exercise every day. He's sending it to me in the mornings. He's serious. He's wanting to go out there and really crush it. He just booked me to come down and speak to his people down there, his team down in Jacksonville. Let's work through this exercise, Tony.
Okay.
What do you believe?
Um, I believe sales growth happens when disciplined teams optimize operations and a winning culture align around clear goals and daily execution.
Okay, good. Okay, and he could even say it like this. I believe it. I believe in three things. This, and this. Discipline cultures, this, produce strong teams, whatever. I like cadences and rhythms when you're telling it, right? There's three things I believe. I believe in disciplined teams. I freaking believe in this. I believe in this. Okay. Why do you believe what you believe?
Um, why do I believe?
It's hard in it. I get it.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. I believe we're at war with apathy in the United States. I believe we got a complacent nation. I believe we're living in a free agent nation where everybody wants to do their own thing. They don't want to be on a team. Right? Give me like this. These are compelling things, right? I believe you'll hear me say almost got to pick a fight with something when you're telling this why. Okay. I believe building a team in today's culture is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. I believe we're living in a freaking free agent nation. Why am I using the word freaking so much? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like I believe these are let me tell you why I believe what I believe. And I want this to be compelling where people go. That's right. I like free agent nation. I like undisciplined cultures. You'll hear me say I believe COVID killed a lot of teams in the US because of distance and working from home. You see, these are very compelling reasons, right? Now, what do you do, Tony?
I help companies drive top line revenue and bottom line profitability by building high performance teams, tightening sales processes, and creating cultures that compete to win.
Okay, I like this. I'm really a high performance specialist. I build top line revenue and bottom line profits. Everybody see how I'm tightening that up a little bit? It's tight. Boom, boom, boom. Like Laura, like yours, you want to think tight because sometimes you're going to have a very short window to say these things. Okay, so I know when we're doing the exercise, we want to have it big, but then we want to just keep tightening it, almost like it's boom, boom, boom. Tony is really a high performance specialist. Okay. Okay. Now, Jenna, what did you add in there? I saw a comment that you made. I believe the competition, our greatest teacher. I believe if we study our competition, deconstruct what they do, we win more in the grand scheme of business. That's a belief statement. Okay. I believe competition is our greatest teacher. So, Tony, do you see yourself as a high performance specialist? Is there another way you would describe it?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Now, how do you do it different than other people?
I don't just push numbers. I engineer the systems, mindset, and accountability to make sales success sustainable.
Okay. I like this. See, now we're getting into key words. He said, I engineer. I like words architect. I like engineer. How many of you have ever heard I inner engineer people? Inner engineer people to play at a very high level. I build the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit of a person. Tiffany Moore, you getting all this? Okay. So when you think about it, I like this. You may even come back and say and use the word engineer in your what you do statement, Tony. Okay. I really engineer successful teams. I'm an architect of successful teams. Okay. Now, give me some examples, Tony, of success.
I've led $250 million in sales operations, turned underperforming teams into top producers, and helped leaders develop the discipline and strategy to hit aggressive growth targets.
Ooh, I like that. See, now we're getting into real specialty. How many of you would like to hire somebody that helps drive aggressive sales targets? Raise your hand, please. I would. I would. Hey, now we're talking stone cold killer machine. Okay. I'd like to have $250 million. I'd like to have aggressive goals. I'd like to have somebody to come in and drive aggressive growth in revenue. See, now we're getting into a real specialized skill set. Yes or no? Okay. Anytime you use the words revenue, aggressive growth, that is something every company in the world is interested in. Okay. Aggressive revenue growth. See, now we're getting into the fun parts of this. So you got to keep playing a lot. That's because I look at it like this. If I took Tony out of the company he's in today and I took him to the marketplace, and if he walked in tomorrow and they let him go from this job or he decided to quit and he's taking his skills out to the free market, it's like, who would hire him to come in and do this? And what would be the number one skill they would want? Because I hear people interview for me and they say, well, I got a good personality and I work hard and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, the 80s called. They need their phrases back. Okay. Because that ain't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for highly skilled people who can solve a real problem. Revenue's a problem for every company in America. Okay. Building teams, problem for every company in America. Yes or no? Okay. What if I said I specialize in turning managers into coaches? Taking managers and convert them into world-class coaches that know how to recruit and attract, coach and develop, retain and optimize. Everybody see that? That's a skill set. Okay. Tony, ask me the question to move forward with you. How do I move forward with you? How would you say it? Come off mute there. Go ahead and come off mute. Oh.
There we go. If I can do it for you like I've done for many others, what would stop you from moving forward with me today?
That's right. And be bold with it. This is where remarkable boldness comes in. If I could do this for you like I've done for other people, why would we continue talking about this? What would stop us from moving forward? This is the part most salespeople are missing, is remarkable boldness. Right? Okay. All right. Y'all give Tony a hand. That's a good work. Okay. Good job, Tony. Now, the reason I give Tony attention is because Tony's being a good student, pays attention, he shows up to class, does what he's supposed to do, and he's getting better. Okay. That's the people I like, by the way. People tell you don't play favorites. Well, guess what? I do play favorites. People that show up and do what they're supposed to do. They're my favorite people. People that whine and complain are not my favorite people. Okay. So that's real simple to me. All right. Now let's see. Chase Grunings, also one of our top students. We were talking about you today, Chase, this conference. A gentleman came over, Medicare guy came over today and was talking about you. Okay, let's see. Chase. I believe in collaboration over competition. That's a good one. I specialize in taking great agencies and making them elite. That's a good one. I believe in a very specific process that yields very specific results. I enter engineer, that's me. Okay, good. See, Chase is a former football coach. I leverage and I would say it like this. I leverage my background as a successful football coach, understanding how to enter engineer and build teams in the insurance space to build championship programs. Everybody with me? How many of y'all have ever heard me say, I believe you're highly talented yet undercapitalized? I believe you're an 8-figure person stuck in a 6-figure vehicle. Who's going to say, nope, not me? Everybody's going to say, I believe that. Okay. All right, Wally, what you got? You can come off mute if you got a question, or he may just be raising his digital hand.
Good evening, Coach Mike.
Good evening.
Okay, so mine is kind of like a question. Okay, so right now I feel like I'm sitting on 2 great ideas based on my skill set. I'm sitting, but I don't know how to like turn it into a vehicle where I'm able to like grab in my target audience, and I don't know if you can, if your company provides guidance for that. I'm pretty sure about this idea. It's based on the skills I have, but there's a target audience I have, so I don't know how to like, get on that big, transform this into like that big, so where I can sit on that big table where I can start to like provide these services.
All right, here's what I would do here, Wally. I would do a strategy call and explain what you're trying to do. Kelly, can you post that? And then let's go a little bit deeper to see if we can help you.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank you.
I want you guys to understand, the people who've been with me for a long time realize that this is one very important part of the business, but it ain't the only part. If you ever hear me say, when I look at a business, Joe, I'm looking at 6 parts of that business. I'm looking at, is the prey drive activated? I'm looking at the explanation of value. I'm looking at the lead generation. I'm looking at the follow-up and conversion. I'm looking at the engagement after the sale, and I'm looking at the person of interest strategy. Now, how many of you have seen me teach all parts of this system? Okay, because it's all part of a whole system. Okay, but if I put you in front of more people, if I put Charles in front of more people, but he don't have anything to say, having something to say is just as valuable as having somebody to say it to. Okay, so if I put you on the phone with a bunch of people and you don't know what to say, don't matter how many calls you get. So this is why EOV is before lead generation. You need to know what you're going to say when you get people on the phone, when you get in front of people. Okay, now I can say it one to many, I could say it one to one. Okay, now let me back up for a second and then we'll kind of close out and take some questions. I believe that the explanation of value is so critical to every decision you make. Every action you take is driven by what you believe. You with me? When you take an action, it's because you believe something. I believe money follows energy. I believe money follows attention. I believe in 35 to 57 touches a day. I believe the people who move the most make the most money. I believe money is just energy transfer between people. Okay. I believe in 7 to 15 touches in the follow-up. See how strong I am in my beliefs? Because I am so strong in my beliefs, this causes me to take certain actions. Okay. So there's a much bigger reason you should do this exercise than just trying to figure out what to say when you're in front of people. It really clarifies your core beliefs. Okay. I believe there's no better way to activate new business than through events. Okay. I really do. Okay. And I would do that any day over ads. So when you're really clear on what you believe, you're going to attract other people that believe the same things you do. And people do business with other people that believe the same things they do. Okay. So this is part of our coaching. It's 1 part to 6 parts of that activating a business. And I guarantee you, guys, I could go into your business tomorrow and say, which of these parts do you struggle with? You don't have the prey drive. You don't know how to explain your value. You don't generate enough leads. You don't follow up and convert those leads. You don't engage with people after you've sold them. Or you don't know how to become known in the world. So you're obscure. You're highly talented, but you're undercapitalized. And I don't care what company it is in the world, they got one of those 6 problems. Okay. Now, when you put this whole thing together, man, you're going to be hard to stop, folks. You're going to be hard to stop. Okay. So if you're in our coaching programs, thank you for being in our programs. The next time I'm going to be coaching is July 16th at the Greatness Factory. If you are in our programs, I'm inviting all of you to come and be there. If you are a guest and you would like to come to the Greatness Factory and spend a day with us, I would extend an invitation for you to come be in the room with me. And I'm teaching on flipping the marketing switch in the morning. Then we're going to do a session on roll-ups. How do you roll companies together? And then we're doing whiskey and wisdom that evening with a guy named Chuck McDowell that's running a $150 million company. I thought about calling it Moscow Mules and Motivation, but whiskey and wisdom won out. Okay. So if you're interested in coming and being a guest that day, then Jana, how could they be a guest if they're not in our coaching program? How do they, what would you like for them to do?
They could email Kelly at coachburt.com or Jana at coachburt.com and let us know, and we'll add you to the RSVP list. Yeah.
And if you've never come to the Greatness Factory, I really encourage you to make the trip to Nashville and come and experience this in person, because it's a life-changing experience for you. Just to be in the room, just to come to the Greatness Factory. And, you know, you can come one time on me and test it out. If you're in our programs, then you should be there, you know, and you should make that a priority to come in and be there. Okay. And just go through the day with me and be coached. That's how you're really going to get a lot better. Okay. What questions do you have tonight?
Coach, there's a question in the chat from Chad.
Okay. Let's see.
Mhm.
Let's see. Susanna too. I don't want to miss hers. I believe everybody has a story worth telling. I like that. Very strong belief, Susanna. I believe every local business has a story worth telling. Now, the question you got to ask yourself, Susanna, that I think we're going to discover is the vehicle you're in, is there enough demand right now for the vehicle? And you know, how do you capitalize on that? What were the 6 parts of the business, Dave? Number 1, is the prey drive activated? Where there's no prey drive, there's no profit. So if you lost passion, you're not activated, ain't gonna be no profit in business. Number two, do you know how to explain your value at a world-class level through these 6 steps? Number three, what is your lead generation system? We call that tactical connection. Number four, do you follow up and convert on the leads that you've generated? Number five, do you engage with the people after you've made the sale, which most people don't? And number six, are you known in the world through person of interest? You know, one of the reasons I do these webinars at night, because I know that a lot of people are work during the day and a lot of our clients can't engage during the day. So I do them at night. This is a part of my engagement strategy to engage with people. Okay, so we had 70 people on tonight, 68 stayed the whole time. That's engagement, guys. That's engaged. There'll never be a time with me where there's not enough coaching. And I always tell people, I'll be more committed than you are. I'll show up more than you do. Trust me. You match my commitment level, then you're gonna be doing something, folks. Okay, Chad, who just signed up for our membership. I understand this to be part of the sales cycle. Could this be used at elevator pitch? Okay, great question. This is an elevator pitch. Gone are the days of elevator pitches, folks. Okay, if I'm on an elevator with somebody, I may say, and somebody says, what do you do? Man, I believe everybody needs a great coach in life. I've spent the last 18 years building a high performance coaching business. I'm really a specialist at activating. I've done this for some of the best people in the world, you know. Have you ever thought about having a guy like me in your corner? And they may say, yeah, I need somebody like you. That's an elevator pitch. Elevators, I got 15 seconds. So I couldn't go through the whole thing in 15 seconds. I could go through parts of it in 15 seconds. Yes or no? Okay, Chuck calls me out of the blue. I'm like, hey, man, here's what I believe, Chuck. I believe you're highly talented, yet you're undercapitalized. Okay, here's exactly what I do, Chuck. Step by step, boom, boom, boom. Man, when can we get together, come in and do one-to-one with me, which Chuck did, by the way, and get you going out here. Everybody see how I condensed it right there? I condensed it to 3 steps, Dom B, versus 6 steps. If I'm in a tight crunch, I just condense it down to the main parts. Belief statement, what I do, call to action. Okay, I know some people, man, you ask them what time it is, and they tell you how to build a watch. Okay, I don't need to know how to build a watch. I need to know what time it is. Okay, so if I got just a second, Lauren Murphy, it's like, what do you do? Well, I'm really a specialist at this. I solve this problem in the world. People go, I get it. See, back to Tony. Tony could take this skill set out of where he works somewhere else if he wanted to, if he needed to. But the more refined he is in that skill, as I'm really a specialist at X, I spent X number of years doing it over here. I helped create $250 million. Man, if I could bring this to your company, would you be interested in having me on your team? Yes. Okay, great. See, tight, boom, just like that. But each one of you have a skill set that could be transferred. It really could. What are practical things you would suggest to change the nature of being a people pleaser? I know this has come up a few times, Jason. This is, if you traveled with me, you would see I'm not a relationship builder, but I am very friendly to people. And I speak to people and I talk to people and I'm nice to people and I thank people and, you know, but I don't have to be stuck in but I also know that I'm a stone cold killer machine at what I do. So what a lot of people do is like they supplicate to the other person. And it's like you get in the friend zone. And what that actually does is lower your perceived value in the market. And you don't want to do that. Okay. And if you get too much of a relationship builder, the real downside of being too much of a relationship builder is it's really easy to tell you no. Everybody see that? I am not afraid of your response to me. I'm not afraid of your rejection. I actually believe that we're the prize. So we're bringing something really valuable to you. Now, if you don't want it, take it on down the street. Some will, some won't, so what? Everybody with me? But I can't supplicate to you because that puts me in a lower position. Okay, and I don't want to be in a supplicated position. I'm the buyer, not the seller. Now, I'm going to work to try to get a deal. I'm going to work to try to put a deal together for you because I want to help you. That's my natural tendency to want to help people. Okay, but I'm not going to put myself in a supplicated position. And that's what a lot of relationship builders do is You're the buyer and I'm the seller, and I'm down here, and you're way up here, and I got to supplicate to you. And that's not a good negotiating position to be in. Okay. And I would really encourage you to read a book called The Challenger Sale, which really kind of outlines the relationship builders versus the challengers versus the hard workers. It's because the challenger, Ryan Smith, is an expert. And if you say something I think is just crazy, I'm gonna say, man, it's crazy. Like I'm not buying your premise. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear people say, oh, I don't have money to do this. I'm like, well, if you wanted it bad enough, you'd find the money. Right? Like I borrowed money when I was 25 years old to go to a training with Dr. Stephen Covey. It changed my whole life. Also helped me generate about $40 million. So I'd say that's a pretty good decision to borrow the $2,500. Yes or no? So when you tell me you don't have the money, I'm like, forget that. You can find the money. Quit going to Texas Roadhouse on Friday night. Use that money to get better. But a guy like me is not going to listen to that, right or wrong. I mean, how many of you have sold something before in your life to go get something that you really wanted? All of us, right? How many of us sacrificed something to get in a room with somebody? So that's, when people tell me they don't have the money, they're really saying they're not that serious about it. Right? Because I've sacrificed personal things to do it. Now I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's what I believe. Okay. But I'm going to challenge you on that when you say that to a guy like me. A relationship builder will go, okay, good luck. I'll talk to you in the future. No, I'm looking for a pit bull, not a poodle. Okay. Somebody who's an expert. All right. Any more questions? Have I missed anything? So Jason, I think you're very skilled at what you do. You probably could be one of the best in the world. You got great looks about you. If I had your looks, I wouldn't just be a multimillionaire. I'd be a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I think you got a lot of things going for you. Coach, thank you. Great webinar. EOV is a critical component. True story, Joseph. You're being a great student too, man.
Coach, I have a question for you. It's
Go
Lisa.
for it.
I'm sorry, I'm just parking the car. So when we come across and we are presenting ourselves, there's a fine line between cocky and confident, and I can be both. So are you prefacing your comments with, I believe, to take it down a little bit from the cockiness to just sheer confidence? Can you speak into that for me?
Yeah. When I wrote the book on confidence many years ago called Swag, I kind of give definitions to these. Confidence is a memory of success. Boldness is striking fearlessness. Arrogance is when your self-appraisal is much higher than your market value. So I'm confident. I try not to be cocky, although that's what my mama taught me when I was young. We don't brag, but we can say it in a way like, hey, based on my unique past, Lisa, and my unique experiences, I really have developed a very unique skill set. That's not being arrogant. That's just saying it is what it is. This is what I spent my life doing. So I think some people can come across as arrogant, but that's more of a feeling of how you make a person feel. Like I was in a gym this morning with a guy who was cocky. He didn't have to say anything to me. Like I was like, you could just use that bench, man. I'm done using it. He's like, okay. I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Okay. Good luck on your workout. Right. But he didn't say a word to me, Lisa. I could feel it coming off of him. Okay. So when you think about arrogance, think it's like lack of humility, lack of humbleness. But I want you to be confident. I want you to be bold. I just don't want you to give people a vibe like you're better than they are. And I know some you don't know, and I'm smarter than you are. And that's because people just don't like that. For whatever reason, they don't like it. Now, I'll close with this. I wrote a book once with a guy who won 10 state championships. And man, he could be brutal with people. I traveled with him for 90 days to write this book. John Hart knows who it is, Rick Insell. And man, he could be brutal. And people would come up to me and they say, man, I can't believe he's so arrogant. I can't believe you wrote that book with him. And I said, the number one asset he has going for him is his confidence. This is why he's won 10 championships. If you take away that asset, then you have taken away the number one thing that makes him great. I don't want him to lose that confidence. Everybody with me? Because then he ain't a Hall of Fame coach. But people took it as arrogance. It wasn't. It was just a deep confidence that he knew how to win. And I loved it, man. I respected it. And that's kind of where I'm trying to get you guys to. Okay. You don't always have to like it. but it's like Nick Saban. Saban arrogant, or is he just one of the greatest coaches of all time? He's confident. You may not like him, but the dude knows how to win. So that's what I want you guys to take away, okay? This was a great session tonight. It's always a good reminder for me to teach this. We can all get better at it. I want to thank you for joining me and sticking around an hour plus on this session tonight. Many of you are students. I appreciate you. I know we value you as a coaching client of ours. Many of you are investors in various things that we got going on. I appreciate that. We believe in that good coaches can change your life. Okay. So if you're not, book a strategy call. Kelly can visit with you, figure out what you're doing, get you into the right program. We do have some new programs that we're bringing to the marketplace as it relates to memberships at the Greatness Factory. And they are life-changing programs. Okay. So I'd encourage you to book the call and let's go play at another level. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. God bless you.